The moment I step into this zone, everything changes. Because this is not a place where limits exist. This is where boundaries are broken and new standards are created through relentless effort and controlled aggression. The weight in front of me is not just resistance. It is a test of how far I am willing to go. And I respond by locking in my focus and preparing for maximum output. My grip tightens, my system belongs is in the total movement with falling steps, ensuring that every repetition is executed with precision and power. The first rep hits strong, setting the tone for the entire set, building momentum that will not break.
As the set continues, fatigue builds rapidly. Muscles tighten, breathing becomes heavier.
But I do not slow down. Pain spreads through every muscle. Unoccupied and gratitude, moving into place. Each turn the tension forward. Each rep becomes more aggressive, more explosive, more controlled. As I push deeper into the sound, my breathing remains steady, fueling every movement and maintaining rhythm under pressure. The environment fades away, leaving anything the work and the drive to continue. Let it continue. No limit zone is not a place, it is a mindset where everything is possible and effort is maximum. No limits, no fear, push it harder every year. Break the pain, dominate, make your presence crystal clear. Lift it up, never drop, let the pressure build inside. You were born to conquer, now it's time to take the ride.
The moment I grip the bar, I lock into a mindset where discipline overrides emotion, where consistency becomes my identity and every repetition is executed with purpose. Because I understand that strength is not built in comfort, it is forged through pressure and repetition. The weight challenges me, pushing against my limits, but I do not hesitate. I respond with control, with focus, with an intensity that refuses to fade. My stance stabilizes, my grip tightens, and I begin the first repetition with precision, ensuring that every movement is aligned with progress. The first rep is strong, controlled, setting a rhythm that allows me to maintain intensity without breaking form. As the set continues, fatigue builds rapidly, muscles tighten, breathing becomes heavier, but I stay locked in because discipline does not break under pressure. Pain spreads across every muscle, but I convert it into fuel, using it to drive each repetition forward with greater force. Each rep becomes more aggressive, more focused, more control as I push deeper into the set. My breathing remains steady, fueling every movement and maintaining them even under extreme intensity. environment fades, leaving only the movement, the weight, and the drive to continue pushing forward. Iron discipline is not about motivation. It is about consistency, control, and the refusal to quit. Discipline!
The moment I enter the set, I operate with a level of intensity that does not fade, where every movement is driven by force, and every repetition is executed with relentless determination. The weight in front of me becomes a challenge that I must coordinate, and I respond by applying maximum effort, pushing beyond comfort, beyond my grip locks in, my stance stabilizes, and I begin the first repetition with explosive power, setting the pace and will not slow down. The first rep hits hard, building momentum that carries through the entire set. As the set continues, fatigue increases, muscles burn, breathing becomes heavy, but I do not stop. Pain spreads through my body, but I convert it into energy, using it to push each repetition forward with greater force. Each rep becomes faster, more aggressive, more powerful, as I receive my into the set. My breathing remains controlled, fueling every movement and maintaining rhythm under pressure.
I also know that growth is waiting on the other side, and I'm ready to push through every second of it. Every second of it. The weight challenges me immediately, demanding effort, discipline, and focus, and I respond by locking into execution without hesitation. My grip tightens, my stand stabilizes, and I begin the first repetition with controlled aggression. The first rep is powerful, setting the tone for a set that would not break under pressure. As the set continues, fatigue builds rapidly, muscles burn, breathing becomes heavier, but I do not stop. Pain spreads through every muscle, but I convert it into energy, using it to push each repetition forward. Each rep becomes more aggressive, more explosive, more controlled as I push deeper into the set. My breathing remains steady, feeling every movement and maintaining rhythm under pressure. The world fades away, leaving only the effort and the drive to continue pushing forward. Push beyond pain. It's not about avoiding discomfort. It is about mastering it and use the movement forward. Push beyond, feel the burn, let the fire inside you turn. Break the limit, cross the line, prove your strength one rep at a time. No excuses, no retreat, fight the pain and feel the heat. Rise again, never fall, give your power to it all. Let's wish you could have it. The moment I step into this set, I activate a level of intensity that refuses to slow down, where every movement is driven by aggression and every repetition is executed with unstoppable force. The weight in front of me becomes a challenge that I must dominate completely, and I respond with focus, control, and maximum effort. My grip locks in tightly, my stick stabilizes, and I begin the first repetition with explosive power. The first rep hits with force, setting a brutal rhythm that demands consistency and strength. As the set continues, fatigue builds rapid up, muscles burn, breathing becomes heavier, but I refuse to stop. Pain spreads across every muscle, but I convert it into fuel, using it to push each repetition forward. Each rep becomes more aggressive, more explosive, more controlled as I push deeper into the set. My breathing remains steady, fueling every movement and maintaining rhythm under pressure. Savage strength is not just power, it is controlled aggression and installing. Savage strength, feel the roar, pushing harder than before.
I step into the set. I know that this is where limits are shattered, where ceilings are broken, and where new levels are reached through pure effort
and determination. The weight in front of me becomes a barrier that I must destroy, and I respond by pushing harder than ever. Break forth! Like grand titans, my stand stabilizes, and I begin the first repetition with explosive intent. So no! First rep hits strong, setting a pace that will not slow down. As the set continues, fatigue builds, muscles burn, breathing becomes heavier, but I keep pushing.
Pain spreads through my body, but I convert it into power, using it to drive each repetition forward.
Each rep becomes more aggressive, more explosive, more controlled. As I push deeper into the set, everything remains steady, fueling every movement and maintaining rhythm under pressure. Everything fades away, leaving only the challenge and the drive to overcome it. Break the ceiling is not about reaching limits. It is about destroying them completely. Break the ceiling, rise above, prove your strength, unleash your love, push it harder, never slow. Let your inner power grow. No more limits, no more fear. Make your dominance appear. Stand up tall, take control. Let the fire take your soul. Let the fire take your soul. Let the fire take your soul. Break the ceiling, rise above, prove your strength, unleash your love, push it harder, never slow. Let your inner power grow. No more limits, no more fear. Make your dominance appear. Stand up tall, take control. Let the fire take your soul.
I step into this final set, I bring everything I have built throughout the session. Every ounce of strength, every level of discipline, and every bit of intensity. The weight in front of me becomes the final challenge, demanding maximum effort and full commitment. And I respond with complete focus. My grip tightens, my stance stabilizes, and I prepare for peak performance, ensuring that every movement is executed with precision. The first repetition hits hard, setting the tone for a powerful finish that does not break. But I convert it into fuel, using it to push each repetition forward. Each rep becomes more aggressive, more explosive, more controlled as I push deeper into the set. My breathing remains steady, even under extreme stress, allowing me to maintain rhythm and execution. Everything fine to why. Turn your struggle into gain. No excuses, no delay.